Well, right now I am in the city of Nijmegen in the Netherlands, and over the past few days we have been looking at the actions that are connected with Operation Market Garden, specifically with the 82nd Airborne. So of course with Market Garden everything is about rivers and canals and bridges, and there were a couple of key bridges, a road bridge and a railroad bridge that crossed the Wall River just to the north of the city of Nijmegen. And there was a lot of urban combat that happened here in the Second World War. So today we actually have a veteran of the 82nd Airborne who fought here and was captured here during Operation Market Garden that we're going to talk to and get the story directly from him. All right, now, like I said, we are in the city of Nijmegen, and I mentioned that we have a veteran of the 82nd Airborne who is with us today. Also have my friend Sander from Sander VK History. He's a Dutch guy and has a YouTube channel and has a little bit better grasp of this whole operation than what I do. So anyway, he's going to tell a little bit about some of the urban combat here in Nijmegen.
So we are standing here on the Keizer Karelplein, which is in American Keizer Karel Square, here in Nijmegen, and some really heavy, fierce fighting happened here with the 1st Battalion of the 508th that landed on the north side on Drop Zone T of Groesbeek. So they had to capture the road bridge at Nijmegen. That was their primary objective. And once they would landed, they did a probe with C Company and 2 platoons of machine guns. They went towards the bridge and tried to capture it as soon as possible.
Now again, we are in the Keizer Karelplein, or the Keizer Karel Square, and there was some heavy fighting that happened here as the 82nd Airborne was trying to get to the Nijmegen Bridge. And there was a photo that was taken right here in this spot where you can see a soldier who has been killed right here in the road. So again, that photo was taken right here. Now we have somebody here with us today, Gene Metcalfe, who was in the 508th and has quite the story of something that happened to him here in this very square.
Okay, you want?
So can you, at this rotary, you eventually get captured. How did that happen?
Right. Well, we, like I said, at the drop zone, we headed to town on this combat patrol. We had 20 guys, and we headed down to the bridge and to make contact with the enemy and find the strength, not to take the bridge, but to find the strength of the enemy. Go back to our drop zone where we were earlier, and report to the strength of the enemy. That was the whole thing this combat patrol was about. So this we're going from the drop zone, we're coming down the road back here to, or wherever it is right now, I'm turned around, and we headed toward the bridge. And so we come in, and we ran into a big Tiger 12 tank, and I won't go to that. That's something else. But we got through that. We didn't get killed on that. So we're coming in, and we're about 2 blocks down this way, and there's an intersection back there, and there was a German standing on the corner of the intersection, a guard evidently, and a dispatch rider with a motorcycle, and he's sitting there talking to the guy, the soldier, And we were walking right by them. 20 of us walked right by them on the street here, the trees and everything. And the lieutenant says, he says, don't fire. We walked from here to the statue there. He said, don't fire. He says, give our position away. Well, the 10th Death Head Division is just right 2 blocks away here. And so we all walked by these guys, and I turned around to see what they were doing. They were gone. The soldier was gone, and the bike was laying in the middle of the road. Imagine where they went. They went, of course, blabbing off to wherever.
And when you say 10th Death Head, you're saying the 10th SS.
10th Death Head Division. And this is the only division that took prisoners. The 9th was right behind them coming across the bridge, and they didn't take prisoners. I was fortunate that they were in front of the 9th. All right, and so the 10th Death Head Division, the forward elements of the Death Head Division, they turned the corner and came down to us. I was right behind one of these trees, and it was right along the side of all the elm trees all along the road there. And this truck comes right down. There's 3 trucks that came down through here, and it pulled right up at the front of a tree where I was. I was about that far from the driver in this truck. It was full of Germans, and they were riding in the back of the truck, canvas truck, and they had a 20 millimeter mounted on the top of the truck, where a big hole there where they could fire down. They stopped right where 5 feet from me, and they were firing down the road. Now it's just starting to get dark. It didn't get dark up here till 10 o'clock, like now. You see how it's going to be at night. It was just starting to turn dark, and I was watching this guy, and you can see the muzzle blast on his face. I was so close, and so I thought, wow. I mean, we're down to find out the strength. So I was left-handed, so I got around the back side of the tree, and I'm from here to you, and the driver was sitting there, and the gunner was standing up. So I couldn't miss. So I took the safety off, and I took a shot at his head. It blew his head to pieces. At the same time, and I fired. The truck went up sky high. I mean, up the pieces. The guys were up in the trees hanging. I thought, wow, what kind of ammo is this? I didn't know. This never happened. We had AP ammunition, but something like this, I couldn't believe it. And unbeknownst to me, the guys came in. Another patrol came into town, and they're on the other side of the street, and they fired a bazooka at the same time I fired on this German, and it blew the truck up, of course, with the bazooka. The guys, it's full of Germans, and then there's the other 2 trucks were back up here. They're just outside of the circle there. They sat there waiting with their motors idling, and I'll be darned. The next truck came right down and parked right behind the first one we blew up, and of course we did the same thing. And then the 3rd truck moved up a little bit down, but this time the guys wised up. Germans started piling out of the truck, and of course with 2 patrols there, we had plenty of targets, and we just annihilated these guys. And then we moved on a little farther, and there's more firing coming from back here. So the rest of the 9th or 10th Death Division coming into the circle here. So we got into the top part of the circle, and we're pushing back through here. They had an 88 sitting back in there, so I never saw it, but it got me. And then of course, went in the air, and my buddy come over and checked me out. I thought they'd roll me over. I was bloody, and they left me for dead in this right here. 88 years ago, left in this circle. So the patrol pulled out, and the Germans, of course, came in, and the medics picked me up here. Then they took me over to Hooner Park, There, you came by the castle there, and that castle, Charlemagne had built that castle in the 10th century, and it was Heinrich Himmler's headquarters. That big building you saw up on the banks in Hunter Park by the river there, that octangular type tower.
Now, Gene, when you say the medics picked you up, were these German medics?
German medics.
Okay.
They came into this area here.
Yep.
And I was laying out in here someplace.
So you were unconscious at this point?
Unconscious, yeah.
And then when you woke up, where did you wake up?
The Germans, they were working on me.
Were you in the castle at that point?
No, the castle's well down by the river there.
Yep. So you woke up here with the German medics.
German picked me up.
Yep.
And the rest of the division were moving in here. They turned all around their houses all around here, and people living in them. And I didn't know this till 5 years ago. I was at a ceremony out there at the drop zone, and I was talking about this area. And there's two guys, after they got through talking, the tour person said, "Two men want to see you." So I said, "Sure, I'll talk to them." It turned out that these two guys in their early, probably 90s, 89 or 90, these two guys turned out to be kids living in these houses here. Now, I didn't know this till 5 years ago. He said after you guys pulled out, they knew all about the battle. He said after you guys pulled out, the Germans came on in through this area, of course picked me up, and then they went to all the houses that were around here, every house where the families were living, and these two guys were telling me this, pulled out their parents and shot their parents, every house. And these two guys lost their parents, but they still lived in the houses about 5 years ago. That's the kind of guys you were dealing with. And I think this was the other roundabout that's closer to the bridge, because anyway, it's the same size, but it's the same thing.
When you woke up and realized that you were now under the control of the Germans, were you scared?
Well, of course I was scared. I was scared all the time. When I bailed out of that plane, I was scared. You're scared all the time. Anybody says that they're not, they're lying. I mean, this is so unnatural. Every step could be your last.
Did they try to talk to you in English?
They didn't say they're talking in German, is working on me, and then picked me up. It took me over the edge of the deal where the rest of the division was coming in. There's about 500 soldiers right on the road here between here and the bridge, SS men, just crossed the bridge. And they, in that park, and where you have the castle there, there's 500 of them digging in to protect the bridge. And that castle that Charlemagne built, when we just came by, down by the bridge, was built, like I say, in the 10th, 12th century. And it has it's a sunken castle. It has a big basement in it. And that's where I had, ironic enough, that's where I had dinner 80 years ago today.
And what was the meal? Do you remember?
Huh?
Do you remember what the meal was?
No, sure I do. It's Polish sausage packed in mustard, a kilo of bread, and a little pack of orange marmalade. The guard, well, they took me to this castle, and I see all these guys digging in. But before then, I was standing here, and then they get me going, and some of the guys are standing around like you're standing around here. I'm no threat to these guys now. These are all SS men. And they were some hard-looking guys. I'm telling you, 5 years of war, they can imagine. So they offered me cheese. They offered me things that they had. Well, there's an intangible feeling amongst combat men, both sides. And they were sharing their food with me because we've all faced the same danger. I was no threat to them anymore. So we could go fishing or anything else. It was crazy. War is crazy. And I'm standing there like you guys are standing, all you are German SS men now. I'm standing there where like where Jim is, And here comes this soldier out of nowhere with a rifle, and he puts it right up on my forehead. I can see the rifling, and then sitting right over here. You know, just like we're sitting here talking today, it's just as calm as and I thought, well, this right here is where I'm not getting home. This is where it ends. I was resigned to it because he was hollering, incoherent. Because we killed, you know, one of his buddies evidently, because we had bodies laying all over the place. Then he was just going bananas. An officer happened to bat the rifle away, and they took me, and then I was, you know, back. He took me down the road, and these 500 SS men were digging foxholes in that hillside that we passed. 3 days later, they're all dead. I mean, it's war. But they were digging there, and they took me into the basement, downstairs, a spiral staircase going downstairs, red carpeting, and these SS men were the Death Head Division. They're the guys who are dressed in the blacks, and they had these skull and crossbones on their, you know, collars and hats and stuff. And they took me, opened the room up, and there's an oblong room, and red carpeting all the way down, so it was real plush. But the only thing in that room was a desk. And on top of this desk, they had a map of Holland, and they had encircled 3 red circles on the map. Eindhoven down the road, that's where the 101st dropped. Then Nijmegen here, where we dropped, and then Arnhem, where the British dropped. So all 3 of these things, they asked me separately, how many men dropped in here? And I said, I just got out of the hospital. I've been sick, you know. I had no idea. They didn't push me. They didn't break my arms or anything. But I had these 2 big SS men guys. I mean, there's a head taller than I was. And they were stiff as boards. So they said, do you have anything in your pocket? And I said, no, I don't think so. And I reached down and I felt this grenade. And I said, I have a white phosphorus grenade in my pocket. I told the interpreter. He said, well, put it on the desk. Now, these 2 guards did not speak English. They did not know. The interpreter told me, say, okay, roll, put it on the desk. So I'm pulling it out, and I'm thinking, whoa, yeah, these guys understand English? And I waited till the officer left, and I told the interpreter, I said, sir, I said, do your guards understand I'm going to pull out this grenade and put it on the desk? He goes, oh, like an oversight. Oh. Then he tells them in German, I'm pulling out the grenade. But that little mistake could have cost me. I mean, as they see that grenade coming out, I'd have been so full of holes. That
How was your treatment overall as a POW throughout the rest of the war?
Well, it was, let's put it this way, Hitler ran a lousy chain of motels. We were starved to death. They took me across the river. I won't go into that part right now because we were in here. The treatment of the prisoners of war was atrocious. They're starved to death, they were shot and disappear. The German guards would come in our camp, we were down by Munich, and in the evening, we were staying in a barracks for 300 prisoners. The barracks was an old Army Wehrmacht base, built for 150. We had one spigot of water. Our latrine was just buckets, and the feces was all over the floor. We had 1 bath in 8 months. 1 bath in 8 months, and we were full of sores. We were lousy. We all had beards, and lice was in the beards, and they could run around from one ear to the other. You're just scratching around. Did they say, I see a beard and I itch? I could not have a beard. You know? The colonel we had was an SS colonel, but he was a great guy. We all admired him. He did what he could. It's Christmas time, 44. He gave us a big block of cheese like this, and about that thick. And there's, 300 of us in the barracks. So everybody had a piece. But the cheese was full of maggots, protein. Maggots didn't have a chance. You're starving. Remember, I mean, it was slimy. But food's food. I mean, we didn't have We didn't. Most of the guys were sick and bones. Guys would die overnight, and everybody had dysentery, sores all over body. We never had anything to wash. One spigot for 300 guys in this barracks. Can you imagine that? We had no heat in there, and this is a cold winter, but we work in Munich every day. So the guys that got to work in Munich, they got soup, so we survived. But when I was interrogated in Stalag 7A, I put down I was a farmer, which I came from a small town in Illinois, and my buddies were farmers, so I always had pheasant season. I always made sure I had my buddies lined up, but I'd go out and help them with chores. They couldn't play sports because they had home do chores in those days. So I learned how to milk cows. So I put down I dropped out of high school, but I told them I was a farmer, which was not completely true, but it wasn't a lie either. And one night, a guard came in. He called my name out, and I wouldn't answer him because we had plants there, spies, and they come in every now and then. The spy would find out a Jewish soldier because of the dog taxes. Guys changed dog taxes, kept them alive off their dead bodies before they're captured. These guys that are Jewish surnames, every time they call out a Jewish surname, then they tell them, the guard would tell them, Arbeiten detail in the morning, you know. He'd go off in the morning, he's gone. Never saw him again.